Welcome back to MycoSpace Trip,
a show all about making the world's first living, breathing, sculptural mushroom grow kits. And I'm your host, Marcel. Welcome aboard the MycoSpace Station. Welcome back to MycoSpace Trip. Very quickly, we need to make more substrate. And that process, I didn't explain before, but for me, it takes anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 hours. About 30 minutes to mix the substrate and then hours to pressure cook fully to ensure that it is sterilized. And for those of you that don't know, the reason why we sterilize the substrate is to ensure that the mycelium doesn't have any competing organisms when introduced to the substrate. Out in the wild, that's a common thing. They will always be competing with other organisms, but in an indoor setting, it's not ideal. And so we have to sterilize the substrate to increase the likelihood that they will colonize the substrate and fruit successfully. Let's make this substrate. Let's make it quick. Let's do it. We're gonna do it right now. Rapid fire action. We get this oak wood mixed in with some wheat bran and hot water. We start breaking them wood pellets down by hand, mixing them up real good with the water, and individually packing them into autoclavable mushroom grow bags, weighing each to make sure they are precise, and then heat sealing each one. Bada bing. With that rapid fire action, we get these sealed substrate bags loaded and ready in the massive pressure cooker we got here.
The next day,
it's a glorious new day. A new day to create, a new day to make progress, a new day to bring something that's never been into the physical realm. Today, we make more breakthrough progress. On deck, we have the mold components for not one, not two, not 3, but 4 designs. They do need a little bit of prep, such as with Living Merkaba. As you saw, the pointed edges of the internal frame broke straight through the heat shrink wrap plastic. So we gotta sand the edges of the points. Same goes with Living Crystal. The internal frames are pointy and will likely pierce the shrink wrap as we're packing the mold. So we're going to sand the edges down, sand the points down a bit. For Living Cube, it's basically ready. It just needs, in my opinion, one more air vent near the top. It currently has 2 air vents closer down to the bottom. So we're going to make a few more air holes at the top. And for our latest piece, UFO, there isn't much that we need to do except remove the supports. As you saw, we prepared 6 bags of substrate. It's about 6,000 grams of oak wood and wheat bran substrate that has been sterilized and sitting in the kitchen ready to be used. That was yesterday, so by now they've cooled down. Because of course you can't pack something when it's freaking hot. After we pack these 6 designs, we only have to make 4 more to reach our goal of having 10 designs completed before May 1st. And of course, we gotta print those as well and prepare them and pack them. My running estimation is that each mold will probably take 2 weeks or less to fully colonize, considering they don't take up that much volume, especially with the internal frame components. Since this occupies a lot of the internal volume of the molds, the substrate along with the colonized grain should be able to colonize the rest of the negative space relatively quickly. A lot of people thought that this UFO with the supports on the inside looked wicked. Some people comparing it to Mobius. Some people comparing it to Bjork. Some wild comparisons, huh? Now then, let's prepare these molds and get them packed. Let's impact people in ways that can never be predicted. Let's connect the dots. Let's line things up. Let's do something that's never been done before. Let's do it. Let's ouch. Let's ouch. All right, here I got the Merkaba internal frame. Gotta sand the tips of this internal frame and use the torch to create holes in the top of our Living Cube mold. See? That's how it's done. Huh? Now you know. Now you know. And here we are preparing our workspace to pack the living Merkaba mold. Making sure to sterilize every surface, applying rubbing alcohol to the internal frame structure and the mold shells, giving it a thorough cleaning, making sure to clean all of our tools as well. Here it is, the glorious King Oyster colonized grain jar. With the internal frame pointy parts sanded down, we can finally put them inside of the mold with the shrink wrap plastic without piercing straight through it. We whip out the substrate and begin the process of loading the mold shells with substrate little by little, ensuring that it gets into every crevice, packing it down thoroughly. And then sandwiching in the substrate an ample amount of colonized grain. With the mold fully packed, we close it and seal each side. I had more footage celebrating the fact that we finally packed this mold, but my camera died at this point. It is what it is.
Later.
It's almost 1 a.m., but this can't wait. We gotta talk about this now. The next biggest moment is here. If packing the mold was the first major step, seeing it fully colonized and then introducing it to fruiting conditions is that next major step, the final stretch. It's been 2 weeks since we've packed the fairy ring portal, and I just took a quick look at it, quick peek under the mold shell, and it looks fully colonized. And you know what that means? Fruiting time. So I'm gonna give you folks, I'm gonna give y'all a quick look before I put it into the humidity chamber, the grand moment. It all led up to this home stretch, this final run, to see this idea come to life. To fruit the first man-made, vertically standing fairy ring portal. To be the first to open a fairy ring portal. And who knows what's gonna come through once it's opened. You just gotta wait and see. Alright, the grand moment. The grand moment. Check this out. Let's pop this open. Oh. Look at this glory. Fully colonized, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Look at that. Oh. Here it is. And here we have it. Our first living mushroom sculpture placed into fruiting conditions within our humidity tent. Check that out. Look at that. Look at it in all its glory. The optimal conditions for it to begin pinning and then begin fruiting fully mature mushrooms. Our humidity tent is hooked up to a CloudForge T3, pumping plenty of moisture inside of the chamber. This is the mold shell where we just removed our colonized sculpture from. And you won't believe this unless you see it for yourself. This was the first fairy ring portal, 20 inches tall, made in a silicone mold. It didn't have an internal frame structure, so it collapsed the first time I attempted to run this experiment. Compared to this version of the 8-inch micro fairy ring portal, it's a beast. It took forever to make this one too. And there it is, the first micro fairy ring portal.
Much later.
And here we are, back at it. It's been 2 weeks and 1 day since we packed the Not a Cactus mold piece, and here it is. It looks like it's 99% colonized. So we're going to carefully remove the plastic from the outside and put it into fruiting conditions, just like we did with fairy ring portal. And we have to be super careful with this process because I noticed on the rim of the mold, there is some extra substrate that got caught there and has been colonized. So I have to very carefully and surgically remove the substrate bits where we don't want them to be. Because it's not a cactus. And once it's fully colonized, Not a Cactus goes into this pot, the display base for it. You know, because it's not a cactus. It needs a nice display pot. Ladies and gentlemen, trees and plants and my fellow chain smokers out there, Look at this. Not a cactus piece. Looks like it's 99% colonized, if not 100%. I say 99% because there's like a little dot there. That could just be the grain. Look at that glory. Look at that glory. Look. Let's get this in the humidity tent. Let's do it. We begin carefully cutting away the shrink wrap plastic that encases the colonized form, gingerly removing the plastic, peeling it away, removing the plastic little by little, revealing our colonized sculpture. And when it comes to bonsai fungi, this is the real life version of it, where I am literally shaping the mycelium form that is going to pin and produce mushrooms. Doesn't get more bonsai fungi than that. And with our sculpture liberated, we finally place it into our humidity tent. Our first 2 colonized sculptural pieces. The first 2 of many to come. See, now Fairy Ring Portal has a friend, not a cactus. Look at them 2 in there. They look cozy. Oh yeah. Wait till you see them produce mushrooms. We've come so far, and there's much more progress that we're going to be making moving forward. This vision is coming together piece by piece, and you're here coming along for the journey. We are rapidly approaching our deadline of May 1st, so we absolutely must bang out these 10 designs before then. Do forgive me for being late on releasing this episode of MycoSpace Trip. I won't make any excuses, I'm just gonna put them out as fast as I can. You'll see the next episode get uploaded very soon. As they say, like, subscribe, leave a comment below to get the algorithm to pick our series up. Get this cosmic transmission everywhere. Your support is greatly appreciated. I have more excellent, exciting news to tell you all, but I'll leave that for the next episode. For now, let me thank you very much for watching MycoSpace Trip, Episode 6.